यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन हे यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज जगाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय. All gracious assembled devotees, all gracious assembled devotees, all gracious assembled devotees. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kim etaya nah apakritam rajva sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupa avidhushaha yaha aham yat achitaindriyaha kimitaya no apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupa vidusho yoyam yad ajitendriyaha kim etaya no apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupo vidusho yoham yad ajitendriyaha kimatayo na apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupa vidusho yoham yad ajitendriyaha kimatayo na apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupo vidusho yoham yad ajitendriyaha kimataya no apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupa vidusho yoham yad atejendriyaha kimataya no apakritam rajva va sarpachetasaha drashtu swarupa vidusho yoham yad ajitendriyaha. Ladies, yoham yad ajitendriyaha kim, what, etaya, by her, nah, to us, apakritam, offense has been done, rajva, by a rope, va, or sarpa chetasaha, who is thinking it to be a snake, drashtuhu, of such a seer, swarupa, the real identity, avidushaha, who does not understand, yah, who, aham, I, yad, because of, ajitendriyaha, having not controlled the senses. Translation of Prabhupada, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. How can I blame her for my trouble when I myself am ignorant of my real spiritual nature? I did not control my senses, and so I am like a person who mistakenly sees a harmless rope as a snake. Purport. When a person mistakes a rope for a snake, he becomes fearful and anxious. Such fear and anxiety are, of course, illusion, since the rope can never bite. Similarly, one who mistakenly thinks the material illusory energy of the Lord exists for his personal sense gratification, we certainly bring down on his head an avalanche of material, illusory fear, and anxiety. King Pururava frankly admits here that the young lady Urvashi is not to blame. After all, it was Pururava who mistakenly considered her to be an object of his personal enjoyment, and therefore he suffered the reaction by the law of nature. Pururava himself was the offender for trying to exploit the external form of Urvashi. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 26, text number 17, chapter entitled The Aila Geet. It's a very beautiful verse. This verse is indicating a turnaround in the thought process of the King Pururava. I think we all know the story, those who have been listening to this class in previous times, that here is a powerful king, exalted personality, king of the earth planet, and he has developed an infatuation with a heavenly damsel called Urvashi, and by higher arrangement, they were able to meet for a few years and have a relationship as husband and wife. And Pururava became, this is all given in the 9th canto, the previous cantos. We are in the 11th canto now. And being the nature of the things of this world, the man-woman attraction is so powerful that obviously the king became so infatuated with somebody as beautiful and as celestially astute as a person like Urvashi, who herself has got so many advanced feminine qualities. But as per the arrangement, then Urvashi actually leaves. There's a contract. It wasn't supposed to be like a lifelong thing. She leaves. And when she leaves, the state of affairs and the physical and mental affairs, the emotional affairs taking place over the life of Pururava are elaborately described. Right? And the first few verses we read before this are indicating how he has emotionally, severely suffered because what we call as love in frustration. So this is frustrated love, and what it leads to. So this is a typical example which many people in this world may go through in their attempts to actually go into a relationship with somebody, right? And if for reasons which are beyond their control, it doesn't go through into a natural, logical, long-term relationship, then something might happen to Pururava can happen, or does happen rather, to thousands of people in this world, right? So it's a very important lesson to learn about. So Bhagavatam is very realistic. It is not just talking about something very ethereal and something very high there in the spiritual sky, but something happens to people like you and me who are living this mundane mortal world, and happens to regular people who go through frustrated love, right? Why should such a story be in the Srimad Bhagavatam though? Since it is such a commonplace affair in this world, why would something so mundane be in the Bhagavatam, right? Because Bhagavatam is a book. It's supposed to educate us, enlighten us, to learn lessons which will actually lead to evolution of consciousness. So why would frustrated love be a powerful Aila Geet, the song of the Pururava? Why would it feature on... Now, as we know, Parikshit Maharaj is on the last day of his life. The 7th day already has started, and maybe there's just a few more hours of the 12th of the 7th day remaining now before the snake bird Takshak will come and bite him, and then the end is so close. Why would he have to talk about a love story of a Apsara and a king? How does it matter to a person who's dying? Doesn't make sense. But it makes all sense. Because of this verse, it makes sense. This is the verse which makes it eligible to come to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because here we find a complete change, what you call as a paradigm shift in the thought process of Pururava. Look at what he's saying. Now, so far, before this verse, his emotional state was, he was all blame for Urvashi for having left him high and dry. He was all blame, that she is the cause of my suffering. She's the reason why I'm in such a melancholy state, and I'm so grief-stricken and heartbroken because she has just left me. And I have no one really to really share my life with, and I'm just missing all the pleasures which I enjoyed with her, right? So she's the cause of my abject, lowest level of consciousness I've reached because of my suffering in such an emotional state. He was all in that mindset. However, because he's a pious king, he has been trained by superior authorities in transcendental knowledge. This verse is giving him the power to introspect his life. What is introspection? Introspection is a conversation between the mind and the intelligence. Generally, we are so much into feeling the way our mind makes us feel. But an evolved being, a civilized being, a knowledgeable being, or more a person on the path of self-realization will have developed the faculty of intelligence, whereby he can go into very healthy conversation within himself between his intelligence, which is going guided by Sri Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, right? And his mind, which is giving some emotional inputs. When the healthy dialogue takes place, right? And that manthan, that churning of the situationals in which the person is put into, right, will allow him to see things now far more clearly than he is muddled over by just his mind in being a reactive state to the immediate responses of the situation. So now, the lens of intelligence is now being used to view why I am like this. And we find Pururava comes to a very beautiful conclusion. As always happens to people who use Shastra Chakshu, when they use the glasses of knowledge, then they always lead to a higher state of understanding of any phenomena in life. The mind by nature is acted upon by the forces of gravity. It tends to pull people down in their consciousness. Intelligence is a faculty given to human beings which has an anti-gravity effect. It is expected to take people up and evolve consciousness. So when intelligence is fed by regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading the scriptures, by associating with saintly people, then that faculty allows you to take charge of your mind and guide the powerful mind. It doesn't negate the mind, it doesn't destroy the mind, it doesn't make it null and void, but uses the mind in a powerful way to take us towards the goal of our life. Pururava is saying something very beautiful here. He said, why am I blaming Urvashi for my state of affairs? How wonderful is that? Right? Generally when we have a problem, like generally when we talk about, we have family seminars or talks about, we'll have discussions on family life, and then we always discuss the conflicts, right? So all know about conflicts with parents, conflicts with brothers and sisters, conflict with neighbors, conflict with people around us, in the colleagues, in our job situation. When there's a conflict, who's wrong? Who's wrong usually? The opposite person is wrong, right? Generally, 99% of the time, when there's a conflict which we all have gone into, right, with any of our parents or anybody else, who was wrong? That person was wrong. My wife was wrong, my friend was wrong, my brother was wrong, my neighbor was wrong, my boss was wrong. They were all wrong. I was right. I was right. Right? So this is the consciousness of a conditioned soul. That when he goes into conflicting situations, he just, because the false ego is so powerful, is so dominating the whole state of psychic existence, right? That he cannot but allow to feel that, hey guy, you could be wrong also. On simple mathematical situation, the law of probability tells you that if there's a conflict, there's a 50% chance that you are wrong, the 50% chance that the other person is wrong. So when you see it only purely mathematically, right? There's equal probability that you are wrong or that person is wrong. And that person just cannot change, right? But in a conditioned state, it is always the opposite guy who's wrong, right? So this understanding whereby introspection based on knowledge allows you to perceive that I could be the source of the problem as well. Now this is very useful in Krishna consciousness lifestyle, because when we see examples in the Holy Scriptures, we say that's the way our predecessors have always thought about their life. Very sweet example is there in Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes when he was Nimai. And he was Nimai, not even Nimai Pandit, just Nimai, young boy, right? I don't know, but maybe less than 5, right? And we had done these dramas many years back of a Nimai. This wandering Brahman comes to their house, and when he comes to their house, then Jagannatha Mishra is very happy, Shri Mother is very happy, they welcome him with love and respect, and said, now please come cook some bhoga. Cook some bhoga and offer it to the... He was carrying his own deity, small deity of Gopal. And then you know the story, how he makes bhoga, and then he chants his Gopal mantra, offering it to his deity. And then from nowhere, Nimai comes in, and Nimai starts, this young child starts eating the bhoga. And the Brahman is like, Aghash, what? I'm offering it to my deity, and this young child has spoiled the offering. Hi, 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 hi. How bad is this? Bhog is now contaminated. So then it's, oh no, we're very sorry. And Jagannatha gets very angry and he wants to beat Nimai for his misbehavior and said, no, he's a small child. Don't get angry. And it's all right. They don't know what is good, bad, right, wrong. Forget it. It's just apologies. Please cook again. So, chalo, theek hai. He cooks again, right? And he cooks it again. And then he makes his offering. And then he chants Gopal mantra. And Nimai comes again. And he eats the offering. He said, oh my God, hi, again. Same thing again. What is going on here, What kind of a child is this? And the Jonas says, no, he gets very angry. He chases him. And he said, lock him up, right? Anyway, now, he says, I don't want to eat. What does the Brahman's response? Who was the source of the problem? The child. Very simple. He was making the offering, nothing wrong with him. He's making the offering in a nice way. The child is eating away the offering every time. Who's the problem? Problem is the child. But what is the Brahmana's response? He keeps telling Jagannatha again and again, my dear sir, my dear Prabhu, please understand, it is not in my destiny today to eat bhoga, cooked food. You just give me some roots and fruits which you have. I should not want to cook. It is not in my destiny to eat today. Don't you see that I'm trying to make an offering to my Lord and this child is eating it away? That means it is not in my destiny. Right? A very nice way of looking at this Leela. There's one perspective which we can develop, that when things don't go always wrong in your life, the scripture always seems to be telling us to not go into a blame consciousness. Purra was in the blame consciousness. She is the cause of my problem. This child is the cause of the problem because he's eating away he's an untrained boy. He's a mischievous boy. He's a restless boy. But the scripture seems to tell us, no. In the Mahabharata, this very holy scripture, we know what the Pandavas went through. All the horrible things they had to go through. Asat Sabha, Vanmala Krishte, Kunti Maharani elaborates all the various things which the Pandavas have gone through, right? And it's very simple for anyone who reads Mahabharata that who's the cause of the problem? Who was bent on having the Pandavas destroyed, killed, eliminated from the world? Duryodhana and his party. It's very simple. There's a hero and there's a villain. The villain is Duryodhana, right? So it's very simple to understand that that's the basic, simple dynamics going on between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And yet, when Bhishma Dev is in his deathbed, on the Bana Shayya, right, at the time of Uttarayan, when the Lord comes in, dressed gorgeously, along with sitting on the chariot was the Pandavas, and Bhishma Dev is lying there and he's just so happy, emotionally surcharged to see his dear Lord Krishna and his dear grandchildren coming in a robe of a king now, right? And then what is Bhishma Dev's response? Oh, how wonderful it is that children who are the son of Dharma, the son of Vayu, the most illustrious sons like Madhuri's children, Kunti's children, Nakul and Sahadev, such exalted people have to go through so much. And he didn't say it is because of Duryodhana, he said it because of the time factor. Bhishma Dev is a very enlightened Mahajan, right? And in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, we find, and Prabhupada elaborates beautifully about how the prabhav, the impact on everyone in this world of the power of time, kala, right? Which is the impersonal feature of Krishna. Krishna's will manifest in this world in the form of time. Krishna says in the Gita, Kalosmi, I am time in this world. Because in the spiritual world, time is absence, constituted by his absence. But when Krishna manifests his energy is here, what controls the entire creation in this world is one. Krishna in the form of impersonal feature manifests in this world as time factor. Right? And therefore that, according to Bhishma Dev, this great exalted Mahajan is the primary cause of the Pandavas' suffering and not the Kauravas. Right? So therefore we are learning from these examples how The scriptures teach us to not go into the blame game consciousness. Right? How does that happen? How does one person actually go beyond the blame game? Is it practical or is it just theoretical? Let's take another example. Take the example of Parikshit Maharaj. He is a young man, successful king, samrat of the entire earth planet, descendant of the exalted Pandavas, heir to the throne of Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? And at a young age, this useful person is supposed to be cursed to die in just 7 days by a very, very ignorant, very, very restless, immature Brahmin son called Shringi, right? So here is a problem. Here is a king who has a long life to live, for whom? Not for enjoying sense gratification, but for ruling the world in dharma. And here is a Brahman who is killing him in 7 days. He is a source of problem. How does Maharaj Parikshit perceive this? And from there we learn, rather, how am I as a sadhaka supposed to perceive this also? Do we find in the Bhagavatam anywhere Parikshit Maharaj going to a blame game? What nonsense this child, what nonsense! How can he do that? If I done something so terrible to deserve a death sentence, what I've done is something very, very minor. Just that is because of his father was not respecting me when I went and I was thirsty, right? I feel sorry for that, of course. I should not have done this. But do I deserve a death sentence for this? He could have gone and offered a strong justification. There's totally imbalanced type of reaction. An overreacting child who's attached to his father giving a death sentence to not as just an ordinary, the king of the world. The whole planet depends on his existence for survival and for dharma. And he's been told to die in 7 days. What a big loss to the king, to the entire planet Earth. Is it justified? Now how does Maharaj Parikshit process this situation? Processing depends upon your samskara. How you process information, he understands. This is the Lord's desire. This is the Lord's desire. There is something divine happening here. I don't know what it is. Like, it will unfurl in due course of time, but it is a time for me to retire from this world. And therefore he calls for all the sages and the saints of this world and asks them this question: what is the duty of a person about to die? And from that event comes the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So when an individual is able to see advantage in a severely disadvantaged situation, that's what allows a person to actually not go into the blame game. If he only sees negative in the entire thing, you'll always see something very bad has happened to me. But the moment he starts seeing there's something good here also, because every situation in life will have is like a coin. There's a good side and a bad side, the right and the wrong side, the positive and the negative side. Nothing is absolutely wrong, nothing is absolutely right, because this is a world of duality. We're living in the world of duality. In the world of duality, there will always be two components to every situation of life. The moment we are able to see something positive happening, even the negative, then we can develop two attitudes: gratitude and forgiveness. When Thakur Haridas is being pounded, mercilessly massacred by those, Rakshasa-driven consciousness of the Yavana people who are like Yamadutas practically, smashing on the body of Haridas Thakur with whips and chains and kicks and abuses, being tormented physically and emotionally so badly, how can a person not feel bad about those people? When someone is trying to butcher you, kill you, murder you, drag you through all the 21 microbes, how can you ever feel not bad about them? It's not possible. It's just not possible. But it is possible in a person like Haridas Thakur. And for those people who follow that mindset and consciousness. Haridas Thakur would not even utter one word of abuse from his mouth or one word of offense from his mouth for somebody who's showering abuses by the millions upon him. Why? What is so special about Haridas Thakur? He in his heart was feeling grateful that I've been allowed to be punished, to be massacred for the act of serving God. I have the honor actually of doing seva to the Lord, right? And yet showing to the world the glory of the service to the personality of Godhead. I am not fit for this, right? But the Lord is giving me this honor actually, that how it is so glorious to serve the Lord and die for the Lord. Everyone lives for themselves and dies for themselves, the selfish world. But who lives for God and who dies for God? Thakur Haridas had the satisfaction, fulfillment in his heart that I lived my life for the Lord by preaching His glories and chanting His holy names, and today I am being allowed to die in His glory, chanting His holy names. And when Thakur Haridas began thinking like this, his heart was filled with gratitude and forgiveness. It took to Krishna for him to do this very special service to him. And you feel grateful to the Lord, then your heart erupts in forgiveness. Like Prabhupada used to say, do not blame the carrier of your karma. That's Prabhupada's advice to us. When something happens to us, the immediate reaction is, it's because of him, it's because of her. Right? Prabhupada has taught us to understand that that person is simply it's like a money order comes from a postman. He is not giving you the money. He is giving you a check which your father sent you for your hostel, right? Because you are living in a hostel. So the postman has not given you, the father has given it to you. So you have to thank your father, right? Or if a warrant comes from a policeman for being arrested, it is not the policeman. It is your own crime which you have done for having broken the law or something, signal, this, that, something, right? Somebody else comes and said, oh, you have to pay a fine. Someone, you did this, you did that, right? So that person is just the immediate deliverer of the money order or your warrant. But he is in no way connected with that situation. He just happens to be an instrument. Correct? So when somebody does something wrong to us, if we were to go into this mindset and consciousness, that we can understand that he is just the carrier of my karma, why should I blame this guy for this unnecessarily? It is what is due to me is coming to me. This money is due to me because I have to pay my hostel fees and my father sent it to me. This punishment is due to me because I broke the law. I broke the signal, or I harmed somebody, or whatever I did. I did some scandal in the bank, whatever I did, it's supposed to come to me. The policeman is not in any way concerned. Neither is the law and order department concerned. It's just I'm getting what is due to me. So I am just responding. I have to respond to the law of karma. So therefore, when we use the theory of karma, the law of karma in a situation, that allows you to actually develop a state of consciousness where you can buffer your consciousness. It's like a shock absorber. When you have a vehicle without a shock absorber, it just goes kadak in the khadda and then your spine is practically broken when it goes into a speed breaker, right? But you have advanced cars, advanced vehicles, and one of the ways you judge a vehicle in terms of its qualities, exalted qualities, that how good is a shock absorber. You judge it by the engine, by the thickness of this thing, with the airbag protections, and how is the good shock absorber, and what is the speed of the engine. There are 4 or 5 things which you see when you buy a car. Is it not? The shock absorber is good, the car is good. Right? So when we have a proper understanding of the laws of karma, they're like shock absorbers, because when you go through some situation, you actually bounce back and look into, this is my karma. And somebody, that's a person who is civilized, that's a person who is religious and pious. One step beyond, which is applicable to all of us actually, if we can do that, at least we should be in the law of, we shouldn't be doing the blame game, which is Purava state before, but now he's in an exalted state. A Vaishnava would say this is not law of karma also. A Vaishnava would think, this is my Lord's desire. That's the way Prashid Maharaj responded. This is my Lord's desire. Haridas Thakur did not say, this is my karma, I'm getting back my karma. Haridas Thakur did not think like karma. He said, this is the Lord's will. Prashid Maharaj thought it is the Lord's will. So when he said it is the Lord's will, then what the Lord gives me, it's coming from the Lord. Can it be bad? Can an all-loving father do anything bad to his children? It may look bad to start with because the father slaps you for doing something wrong. It hurts. It really hurts. And you start crying because that really hurts your cheeks. But when you introspect, my father was right. I shouldn't have done this. It is an act of love, not an act of hate or malice. So whenever we get punished, apparently when we suffer, suffering and punishment go together. When we punished by the laws of karma, we suffer. But when we see the hand of the Lord behind that, we see it's an act of love. Act of love. And this prevents us from going to what we call as the blame game. We will not complain, we will not blame, but you will go into the mode of what is called as the acceptance mode. In the blame game, you are in a rejecting mode, you are in a denial mode, right? But when you understand the higher powers working behind the whole situation, what do you go into? You go into a reconciliation mode or acceptance mode, right? So this is something which comes up so beautifully in Pururava's story. King Pururava frankly admits that the young lady Urvashi is not to blame. Right? So all the things that you go into our life are really not to blame. That is, there are higher reasons, or rather we can say higher levels of reality which operate in people's lives, which also must be considered in the equation before we make a judgment on the situation that is happening. Today also is the appearance day of Lord Varahadev, such an auspicious day. We are blessed to understand that this is such a blessing. Keshavadrita Sukha Sarira. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was at the house of Murari Gupta. Just allude to one wonderful pastime which I often try to remember. So it is Murari Gupta's house, and Mahaprabhu, as we know, now at the time he is Nimai Pandit now, still in Navadvip. He would go in his internal mood of ecstasy so many times, right? He would always fluctuate between external consciousness as a devotee, as a Nimai Pandit, as a scholar, and again going to internal consciousness where he would actually go into his internal mood of being Krishna. Or something in the mood of being Srimati Radharani's side, right? But here, of course, he goes in the mood of Varahadev suddenly, right? And he takes a pot, I think it was Murari Gupta's pot, and puts it on his nose and starts going round and round in his compound. He said, Murari, offer me prayers of glorification. Right? So Murari just sees and he's like, wow, this is opportunity. Murari Gupta is another exalted person. He knows, he's used to all this. He knows, is he all right? Is he all right? He didn't think like that. The Lord's identity is known to his devotees very well. Right? And so Murari Gupta understands very clearly. In fact, the Lord already in previous pastimes revealed his transcendental nature to him in other pastimes as a child. But now the Lord, he immediately realizes the Lord is in a different mood of Varahadev. He starts offering prayers. He said, Murari, I will even kill my own son if he offends a Vaishnava. That is, he goes in that mood. The reason of the Lord saying this is when he had appeared as Varahadev so many millions of years ago, in I think, Shvetavaraha Kalpa. Right? So at so many millions of years ago, then he had actually lifted the earth, dunked down, pushed by Hiranyaksha into the Karana ocean. Right? When he lifts the earth up, there is a sparsha, contact between the earth, Bhumi Devi, and the Lord, right? And a child is born by that divine contact. His name is Bhumi ka beta, Bhauma, right? Bhauma is born. Bhauma was a very pious child, a very religious child, a very, very exalted child with a lot of qualities. It is the Lord's own son. What qualities he will not have? He obviously is a very, very special, highly evolved soul. However, this story also shows us the power of association. He gets friends with Banasur. And Banasur, being the type of person he is, they both have an intimate relationship. And now, Bhauma is so influenced by Banasur, he turns into an asura. He becomes Bhauma Sura. In the 10th verse of Bhagavatam, we find that how the Lord actually came on Garuda along with Satyabhama, and actually he had to kill Bhaumasura. The father killed his own child. Justified? Justified. The Lord can never do anything wrong. The Lord is always perfect. Right? Because even though he is his own son, he was doing acts of offense, murdering, killing, abusing, offending Vaishnavas and destroying dharma. Right? So like Lord Ramchandra, a very just king, will punish even his own son. A just father like Krishna will punish even his own son for doing something wrong. So actually, because he become an asura, and Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkrita. If my dushkrita is my own son, I will still not be partial. This shows Krishna's complete impartiality nature. Someone is born from his own body and somebody else. He doesn't care. I mean, not that he doesn't care, but he's like equipoised. Right? Samoham sarva bhuteshu nama deshosti nama priyaha. Right? So Krishna is totally equipoised towards everybody. And therefore, even a son had to be killed. So this story, more than any other story, tells us how the Lord will take tremendous great offense for a person who is an offender. He will never spare any person, whoever he may be, even if he is his own son, if he's taken the audacity and the liberty to offend Vaishnavas. That is a strong statement Krishna is projecting from this Leela. Right? That's how this Leela happened at the house of Murari Gupta. So of course, today is a day we can pray to Varahadev. It's a day of prayer and smaranam, Leela smaranam of Varadev's activities and how he killed Hiranyaksha. The symbolic understanding of the Lord's Leela could be that our consciousness has fallen into Maya. We have fallen to Maya, right? And so we have been thrown because of our vulnerability due to false ego. The illusory forces have pushed our consciousness into the depths of Maya. The Acharyas say this vulnerability of the consciousness comes in because of our attachments to our own ahankara. Hiranyaksha is the symbol of person who has got unlimited ahankara. Unlimited ahankara. And we are subcomponents or parts of Hiranyaksha. We also have big ahankara. The ability of the ahankara, for the spiritual to get the ahankara, is impossible. Nobody in the creation has ever got rid of ahankara. Because it is as difficult to eliminate as it is to lift a mountain. The ahankara is like a mountain. So the Acharyas explain that Krishna, when he lifts the Govardhan hill, and Varahadev, when he lifts the earth planet, right, they do it so effortlessly. Is it not? So effortlessly. Just the Lord goes down, and then within a few minutes he's up. And the whole earth planet, not a small pot, right, not a big boulder of rock, But the whole planet Earth, how big is the planet Earth? We don't even know. We don't even have any understanding because we're so tiny. We look at the Himalayas and feel, oh, Himalayas, very bad. 23,000 square feet above the... It looks very high for us, right? But the Himalayas are a mountain on the huge Earth planet. In one sense, Krishna lifted only the Govardhan hill, but Varadeva went beyond that. He lifted the entire Earth. How did he take it? Was it a problem to lift the Earth planet for the Lord? Effortlessly. So we can only get rid of the ahankara and we lifted from a situation of ignorance and dunked down into lower consciousness by the Lord's grace. When we pray to the Lord helplessly, like the demigods prayed for the earth, when we pray helplessly to the Lord that I am a victim of my own ahankara, and the ahankara is creating so much situations whereby I am gullible, vulnerable to illusory forces of Maya and affected by so many anarthas because of that. But my dear Lord, it is only you and no one else who can lift me off the influence of ahankara by your grace. So Krishna's achintya shakti of doing something wonderful is depicted here. Krishna can do which no one else can do. Right? So Krishna lifts the Lord lifts the earth planet, and if easily can get us rid of our ahankara also. How? Mamana bhavo madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. And the moment we actually offer ourselves in saranagati to the Lord very easily takes charge of our life. All that is unnecessary in our life, ahankara and all this stuff, Krishna just whisks away as if it's nothing, right? And allows our pure love to rise again. And then you go into our, what is that called? Orbit. Right? Earth came into its orbit. Orbit means that the earth is now in its natural situation of circumambulating the sun. So what is our orbit? Our orbit is that we are in a state of always serving to the Lord. Right? So service is our orbit. When you're in your orbit, you serve. When you're off your orbit, you do crazy things. Right? So we can pray to our Radha today to put us back into our orbit, where actually we can forever be around Him, circumambulate Him, and always serve Him with love and devotion. Bharadev Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.